Hi, Rick. I hope the background noise isn't too bad. It's really difficult for me to actually get any time when I'm alone because of my living situation, and obviously I'm drinking in places, and Hanoi's really crowded. But anyway, I'll do my best. What I'm going to do is try and initially break it down into uh, constituent parts. The first one being Sorry, that's me. Yeah, that's great. The first one being the prelude to all of this kind of stuff that's happened. So just to recap, um, I think it started in March sometime. I was having and still am having big financial difficulties. I couldn't pay the rent, so I was looking at kind of ways of a grand exit. And then there was this obviously attempt at suicide, which should have worked. I'd factored it in. It was 16 grams more than was necessary. I'm just wondering as well, Vietnamese medicine, they kind of put powder in it, so maybe I kind of underestimated all of that, and then of course the actual bits of glass kind of on the veins. I should have cut deeper, but anyway, as I mentioned, I was kind of like flopping around on the floor. Come on, take me, take me! I want all of this to end. And I thought of what my heart felt like bursting out of its cavity, out of its chest cavity, but actually it didn't happen that way. And I managed to clamber up to the stairs to this internet cafe I've been going to. And it kind of, the second wave, I collapsed on the computer. The second wave came back. I thought, yeah, this could be it. And it didn't happen. And so I thought, all right, bugger it. The next day I went to a regular place. The guy's a bit of a local restaurateur, mafioso kind of guy. Everyone's always, he doesn't open until around 4-ish, closes generally around midday, or closes at like 8 in the morning when he takes us all to his other restaurants. Or I've been to a number of his places. And he's got a large entourage with him always, like cronies and thugs and all that stuff. So I was having this kind of issue with one of his local guys. We were doing like the rice wines, and he was demanding I do a full beer, and he would take a sip of a wine and then kind of criticize me about something, and everyone's laughing and whatever. So it kind of started that way. The guy must have been in mid-20s, kind of wiry, lithe, but not nothing. He wasn't like kind of a big guy. He's taller than me. But there again, who isn't? So anyway, we're in the cab. It's a cab. There's a few cars going down there. There's probably about 8, 9 people as well. Like his wife's coming, his son's coming, other people in the entourage. So okay, we end up in this. Everyone's drunk, so we ended up in one of his restaurants, and okay, whatever. And then this guy kind of starts on me. He started in the cab, he started on me, and I ended up. Now, here's where it gets surreal. I'm not a fighter. My deal is, the hand clap and the drunken shoulder barge, and a couple of grabs, and I don't want to hurt people. Yes, I kind of enjoy that, but not for the physical side of it. But anyway, this all went crazy, and I can, work out exactly, I can still in my mind break it down. And it was like that movie with Denzel Washington in it. I forget the bloody name of it, but he plays this kind of guy on the factory floor, but he's actually ex-CIA and some like trained killer, and he takes out a whole bunch of people in about 10 seconds. And it felt kind of like that. And I was doing stuff, number one, that I'm not trained to do. For example, there's the eagle claw, there's the chicken wrist, and I've heard about these things. But I was actually putting them into practice with like ruthless kind of mechanism, if you like. And my first instinct, when I threw this guy probably more than 12 foot over 2 tables and over the bar. from the entrance. And which to me that was kind of shocking. I mean, I didn't realize. I mean, I don't have that strength. I simply do not. Nobody does. Um, and anyway, he comes out and blah 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 blah. It was like a Joe Pesci kind of thing. What's the two movies he's done? Goodfellas he's done, and the other one, Casino. It was kind of like that, with stamping on his head, kicking him in the balls, kicking him, on his chest, and then kicking him in the balls again, stamping on his balls mostly, then his throat, and then his shoulders, and I fell on him with a knee onto his soul. I can't do this stuff. I just want to stress this, right? Um, and what one thing I did leave out, because I'd forgotten a little bit about it. There was kind of a blue light around me, but it was quite thick. And what I'm reading, and again, I'm a total newbie to all of this. What I'm reading is that's an aura, and the more you get deeply involved, the bigger the aura, then the more good that's in there. So I don't see much good coming out of it for that guy. But maybe, I mean, he was an asshole, right? But I woke up the next day feeling disgusted, ashamed, sickened actually, and I was shaking. I'm never going to fight again. And even if people attack me, then it will be defense and pacify, and obviously just to nullify the situation. So there's that aspect of it, and then the surreal bit. We ended up in. I think I told you we ended up in this classroom, and I threw him again about 12 foot towards the back of the wall, and he hit it, and then I grabbed him, and there's kids there, and. So obviously it's a big complex, and some of the rooms, but that was the first room I came to, and so I'm smashing his face on the floor, and then his head against the table, and then his nose against, of course there's blood everywhere, his nose against the whiteboard, and then, as I mentioned, asked the kids what should we do with him, and thank God they had more sense than I did, but I didn't feel good about this, and I remember it graphically, and it just seemed like it was too mechanical. It wasn't me doing it. Now, the day before, obviously, I just tried to kill myself, and it should have worked. And I'd also started hearing songs for a number of weeks before that, which apparently is the first sign of hallucination. Not that I knew at the time. To me, it was kind of, oh yeah, your mind's, you basically, your mind's kicking off a bit, and you listen to music you like, kind of thing. And that didn't kind of notch up any danger bells for me. And the next day, I got, basically, I got, I think I had 2,000 Vietnamese dong on me, which can't buy you anything actually, anyway. Nowhere to stay and no job. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck do I do? So I hit the local park. I walk around a lot because if they see the police, it's pretty high presence here, obviously, as you know, in Vietnam. And if they see a kind of foreigner with a plastic bag and just hovering around, walking from place to place, you're going to get stopped, and that's not really what I want. So I was doing a lot of walking, and then because I was kind of, I guess, half watching out for the cops and half kind of thinking, what the hell do I do? I basically decided that no more sleep, and I knew that people could do this, and the first 48 hours were horrible, and after that, it was like it was fine. I'm still on no sleep, although I did have one day after a big fight with some spirits, which I'll go into later, and when my diplomas got stolen, and I don't remember any of this because I was, palatic in some Vietnamese person on a bench where I've sometimes been. And and they said to me, "You've been out for more than a day." I don't remember anything at all. And but they were cool. and then the sleeplessness just carried on, and now it's normal. I do get the odd. Sometimes I'm in Circle K, and I get the odd kind of 5 minute kind of nod off, but you always wake up. So that seems like. I mean, I know there's people that can do this, but I don't need to sleep anymore. And in some ways, I'm glad I don't. I mean, there's more time to think about things. There's more time to, well, what if you can't sleep, then what, I think that's an advantage actually. So, and that's been the situation. And then shortly after that, I started to get these. Oh, I wouldn't want to say powers, but I don't know what to call them. These special abilities, and I'm just going to list these off before I go into the. I mean, I'll stop here now because there's background music, and I've got to go to another place. But basically, this is what I kind of acquired: clairaudience, and that was one of the first things actually that came through because I was walking out of this internet cafe and just hearing music everywhere. And it was always this Irish music. I don't know why, but it was always this Irish music, and then ended up with a kind of like almost like a bombastic military choir, but obviously it wasn't because it was Irish rebel folk. Um, so I don't know how, but it was loud, bloody loud, mate. And then that was going on all around all around the area I'm living in, which is Long Bean and Hanoi. Another thing as well, I could pinpoint, and still obviously still can, but I can pinpoint conversations from quite far off. I can hear what people are muttering under their breath. I can focus on 4 or 5 conversations and pick out everything clearly. Now, and the weird thing is, there's some kind of translation involved in this. So I'm thinking, innocent me at the time, I'm thinking, my God, these Vietnamese have learnt English well, because I'm hearing it in English at first. And then it switches into maybe another language, and then it goes to Vietnamese eventually. And the other language could be anything. And I think I mentioned about this guy that was giving me free food. And I didn't know anything at the time, and I'm like thanking him for it. And then when I listened to him talking to one of his staff members, to me he was speaking in 4 different languages at different phases in the conversation. And I came up to him after and said, "My God, are you from Vietnam?" He says, "Yeah, I am." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Vietnamese." And I said, "Well, you're multilingual, aren't you?" And he looked at me like I was stupid. Of course, it didn't twig in my mind that other things were happening and going on. So anyway, that's basically so. All right, the first one was clairaudience, and again, I can hear from distances away, and it's crystal clear. My eyesight, unfortunately, hasn't improved. I wish that had been, but no. Limited telekinesis, for example, moving stuff across the table quite slowly, sometimes faster. It depends. For example, the last few days, I haven't really been. I've been working with this guy trying to get some IELTS classes together, and he's helped me out, and I'm helping him out, and he's a good guy and all that stuff. So I'm trying to do a lot. I'm doing a lot of work, and I haven't really been keeping up with, the powers and inverted commas. And they kind of disappear for like a day and a half, and I'm thinking, oh bloody hell, no. But no, it's just that they don't go. You just have to focus and try and just like yesterday, I couldn't do a thing, and I was getting a bit concerned. Today, it's back to normal. So again, it's like probably a skill that you have to practice to keep it at the same level. Or if you practice and practice and practice, no doubt you'll get better. The stuff I can do is very limited. I mean, I can move stuff around on a table a little bit. I can lift cars up about 2 inches from the ground. As you said, there is tilting there. One point in time, I locked some guy in a car, but I don't know how I did that. I haven't been able to do it. One time, by mistake, there's 2 cars. They kind of locked their mirrors together, and they were, what I found as well, initially I had to concentrate focus all of the time. And now it's got to the point where after 10 weeks, it got to the point that where I can focus on it once or twice and then let it be and carry on having a beer or listening to music or whatever. And then if I don't switch it off, then it will carry on. So cars will carry on moving, albeit not very fast, but noticeably, and motorbikes as well. You can change also the direction of the wheels or whatever. So you can be, the forward and back and all that stuff. Tiles on the floor or tiles on the wall, yeah, they can be moved and disjointed, and trees can be brought further down or further back. I don't see much use in it, but there was one point really. But obviously it will have a use at some point in time, and obviously it's there for a reason. There was one time I helped a group of people fix a metal railing by one of the lakes, and it took about 4.5 hours, and that came in useful to push up the metal bars by a couple of inches, so some guy could work on the screwing detail and remove the screw. So yeah, it does have practical use. I guess it could be used to open a lock, for example, but that would take some time. Nothing is like in the movies. So there's that. There's something else I've only been able to. I mentioned it. I've only been able to use it once, or maybe it's only usable in specific situations. Is my right finger. Now, maybe it's because I'm using my right finger, or maybe that's what the hand thing is, the hand sign is. But it's my index finger becomes kind of like caustic, and there's this blue liquid, this viscous liquid that you can see that can come out onto metal and kind of corrode metal. It sounds amazing though. I mean, it's not that powerful, but you can flatten surfaces and eventually you pull the screws out. Okay, so that's the basic limited telekinesis stuff. Precognition, a little bit. I mentioned the seat next to me about when it first started, maybe 8 weeks ago, something like this, and it was in a Bihoy restaurant, and it was some guy's birthday, and they'd all gone, and there was some guy sitting next to me, and he left, and then it was a yellow plastic chair, and then I looked down, and there was a vein. I say a vein. It was like a vein shape, but from the plastic, so it was still yellow, and it was pulsating, and and then it went up the kind of back of the seat, and then it went down again, and then it went up to about half level and went way down, and then it went up again and stopped. I thought, and just in my mind it was like, yeah, someone's dead. And I called over the waitress, and I said, the guy sitting here, he's going to have a problem. That it's dangerous for him. I can't remember the exact words, and paraphrasing, and she looked at me like I was a jerk. Oh yeah, all right, yeah, who, what are you on? And literally within a minute or two, no more than that, the phone goes, and she goes white, and she looks at me, and I said, is everything okay? And now she said a word, anasi or anesthesi, and I actually, it didn't make a connection, but I checked it. I just checked it before I'm making this audio recording. It means ancient enemy or ancient people. So I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, the next time I went back, she's whispering under her breath again. Using this enhanced hearing, she's whispering under her breath, "Mafia," and that's been my nickname in that place. And I'm giving wide berth there. I'm giving free drinks. It's not what I want, but I think they think I had him set up or something. I don't know. But obviously I didn't. I just and that's the precognition aspect of it. I would say that's hit and miss, but that was pretty spot on. I've also there's this kind of word willing could be precognition related to. Sometimes I can, for example, I'm a teacher, as you know, and I'm kind of broke, and I did this class for a guy, and I enjoyed it, and and then I was just hoping for more classes, and I said, look, I was running out of money desperately, and I kind of wish this, yeah, within a few minutes he's going to call me and offer me some more, and then yeah, he did within a few minutes. Um, Obviously, I don't think you could wish for, like $1 million or something, but I think you can affect the physical surroundings you're in, and it's happened a few times. Um, even just a few days ago, I'm going around still with a plastic bag because my actual main bag was nicked by the people who stole my diplomas. And so I'm going around looking like a hoe. I mean, I'm actually looking all right. The clothes are all. This guy's been anyway, whatever. I think I mentioned he's been kind of supporting me a little bit, and but a plastic bag isn't cool. And then I thought, and then all of a sudden there's like a brand new bag on the street. So where did that come from? I'm thinking that at the time. My shoes packed in, and I'm also thinking, God. And then I found a new pair of shoes just right by, actually right opposite a police station, by one of the parks in Baudet here. So it's kind of, I don't know what you call it, but it's more than a coincidence. It's more than a coincidence. So there's that one, and the last thing I'm going to talk about in this little episode here will be interactions with spirit. Now that's always remained. You don't need to really focus. Well, I don't need to focus on it. The spirits initially I met were tree spirits. The strong ones come from trees. The bigger the tree, the stronger the spirit. Most spirits are invisible. Vast majority actually are invisible, and most want no harm to human beings. Vast majority, I would say. But there are malevolent spirits. I haven't come across jinn or demons, but I have come across malevolent spirits, and the first few nights were scary as hell. Scary as hell. So the first night, I think I mentioned this, one of the leaders of this very, very small tribe of tree spirits came out of a tree, and they have wonderful camouflage, absolutely amazing camouflage. I mean, there's a boy I used to call Timmy, and he would go into a fire hydrant, just instantly melt into the fire hydrant. There was a lady that she, I don't know how she did whatever, but she would go into the wheel of a car, and it was all logical. It was all kind of in this internet cafe. They fade into pictures. There's pictures of soldiers and explorers and spacemen, all that stuff, and they just fade into the color of that, and that's that. Some spirits are more difficult to deal with. Normally you can dispel them with a touch or even from a distance. Okay, if you want to. If you touch them even accidentally, they'll not dispel. They're not going to a different plane or anything. They're just fading into like the wallpaper, the furniture, or the environment around them. They look like human beings with some slight alter. Sometimes they're way too tall, or the dimensions don't really fit. They're thin and almost see-through sometimes. They can talk, but it takes a while. I mean, I think if you didn't have enhanced hearing, you wouldn't hear it. And they can only speak one or two words, is what I've found, but enough to communicate. I think after a while, the spirits they can talk to each other quite easily. They can communicate with each other, and after a while, I said to, I could see them all, right? They're all around me watching these videos and, and trying for the light. There was one guy and he looked like he was a kind of hard rocker in his day or something with long hair and shades and stuff. And he's got his left hand out, holding his left hand to the screen where there's loud music, there's cheering and all that. And I think they just want some kind of to hold on to vestiges of humanity here. And I'd always stop what I was doing and play them songs, and there was a bit kind of a big crowd around me. Say big crowd. There was only four of them on that floor. I never saw them during the day, only at night. So what they do during the day is I wouldn't know. But yeah, they crave humanity, most of these people. And ironically, yeah, you asked me if they were Vietnamese or foreign. I'd say almost all foreign. It's possible, but I'm not exactly sure because I didn't get a good look. She's very shy, and I haven't seen her again for quite a while. And it looks like she was the boyfriend of one of those guys, and she could well be Vietnamese, but because of her hair and kind of facial, but it was hard to pinpoint that. Um, so there we go. Like the tree spirits, some of the ones in the foliage or by the garden verges, they were like little kids with like little tiny fingers which couldn't grasp onto anything because I was trying to give them some candy. I'd spray it around and then they just couldn't hold on to it, which was kind of a shame. Um, so anyway, yeah, they can be malevolent. I've had incidents where they can knock your bag, for example, and then there's you can tell, you can detect when they're behind you, and you might look to the right, and then they're right and the left of you, but all you see is a little flicker from the corner of your eye. Now, I've gotten to the point where I can eventually corner them and dispel them. Should I need to? I mean, mostly now these days I just ignore them. They can't touch you. At least the ones I've met, they can't touch you unless you want them to. Is my theory on this? Because there's a few guys in this internet cafe I have actually let touch me, and they seem to, they want the human presence. They want, I know it sounds like a bit of a, you know, contradictory thing. You've got the movie Poltergeist, they'll go to the light and all that stuff, but that seemed to be what they want. I think they're trapped between somewhere, and they're still holding on to vestiges of humanity and anything that's kind of shows human beings, or they want to be close to human beings. Um, so I don't know, yeah, but do they communicate? Yes, because I remember graphically the night I should say, when I was playing, I think it was obviously as Reggie Blackmore, I suppose, but I'm playing that, and I let the headphones go, and I had some work to do, but I let them listen to it, and so I put a couple of pens so the headphones spread, so people to the left of me, at the back and the right could hear it, and then one guy said something, one spirit said something to another spirit, and then since then they know that I know, and everything's cool with me, it's fine. I know it's kind of freaky, but anyway, I'm going to stop here, and then tomorrow I'll talk about specific incidents with spirits. That was just a general go through. So that's my situation at the moment. I was hoping I would meet someone that could explain something, but I've not been able to do so. I met, obviously, I'm a newbie, all right. I'm 10 weeks into this. There's got to be people here who are, who can do what I do, 100 times more effective. Real adepts. There has to be, and these are the guys I want to meet, and I actually want to know why. People could say it's hallucination, but hallucinations are real because the diplomas didn't come back. The security camera, I'll explain all of this tomorrow anyway. The security cameras didn't change when you wake up. So what you're doing now is actual reality. So again, going back, I think it's an extension of the prime material. We're living in the prime material. and then what you do on the ethereal plane, maybe it is, but I don't know. But that is my theory at the moment. But then it's, basically the ethereal plane is part of the prime material, and you get to experience the prime material plus other things too, which some people wouldn't. Maybe for better, maybe for worse. I don't know, but there has to be a reason why these are given. So am I suicidal? No, not at all, not at all. Um, it tells me that whoever or whatever, or if it's God himself, or I don't know. But there's a reason I'm here, and I have to find that reason out and try that until then to live a good moral life. And it's there for a reason. And I think I mentioned the other day that I tried to use it twice for a little bit of not evil stuff, but financial gain, I should say, and that backfired twice, quite dramatically. And again, I'll talk about this tomorrow. But so obviously, there's some people say, no, you've got this stuff. Don't be stupid with it. Use it correctly. um, Also, what I found, I've never been into meditation, but I've tried it over the last 3 days for the first time in my life, and yeah, it does replenish your power very quickly. Um, yeah, it's a big help, and in fact, some of the telekinetic powers you can use with an outward breath. Some of them you don't need to move at all. Some you can be used with like a claw or like a pointed finger, but most of it's in the mind. Certainly, the breathing does help. It does help. Okay, mate. I hope you got all of that. Hope I sounded sane and not bonkers or anything, because I do, sometimes I wonder. Um, anyway, I'm gonna go and have a couple more beers at the other Cycle K and watch the football tonight. So have a good one, and catch you soon, mate. Cheers.